Things happen to us. They leave a mark on us. They trigger us. They hurt us. They damage us. They whatever us. But it is ultimately up to us to fix us, even if we are not responsible for our own brokenness. And that's the sad of life.
So for today, I am doing self-care painting. I am at Prospect Hill Park. And as per usual, I got the canvases, I have the paints, I have the paint brushes up. And we're going to paint. I'm going to start off this ceremony by saging the area, and then we are going to focus with the meditative bowl, and then we're going to get into the process painting part. So let me cleanse the area. Ha! Delayed, but always on time. So we're going to sage this energy. We're going to release things that no longer serve us, things that tie us to our lowest vibration, whether it's triggering points, whether it's like, again, people, places, and things. So let's do an inhale and an exhale with the same bowl. As you breathe in, it's like you're hearing the sound at its peak, so that's like at its potent. And then as you hold in that breath and then you release, that's when like the sound in and of itself is starting to like dissipate and becoming lower and lower. So it's like intentionally being here, processing your emotional state as well as your like mental state right now, as well as it allows you to breathe in with the sound, hitting its peak, and then you breathe out as it's decreasing in its sound, if that makes sense. Now, typically I would be asking, what brought you here to Paint Your Truth, but I will tell you why I'm here doing Paint Your Truth. So when it comes to Paint Your Truth, it's really about being intentional as well as letting your heart just explore, letting your mind just explore without you having to like correct yourself. Oftentimes we're always in our heads, and we're causing ourselves anxiety because we're projecting, or we have fear where it's like fake evidence appearing as real, where we think this is going to happen, so we act in a way to either make this thing happen the way that we want it to, or we have this thing where we avoid doing something because it's not the outcome that we want. So we're living in a reality that hasn't even really manifested, where when it comes to process painting, it's about being very intentional and letting yourself just be. And wherever that takes you in the process of painting, you're going to manifest it onto your canvas. Today's painting session is more so about what self-care looks like to you or to me, because I'll be painting. So with that in mind, it's like, okay, now I know what I'm painting. Maybe not how I'm going to paint it, or maybe not even what, in the sense of like, I'm going to paint dandelions. Maybe it's not dandelions. Maybe it's just like, okay, self-care. That's a starting point. And wherever that leads me to, whatever that ends up transpiring on the canvas, is what self-care means to me. Now, another question I'd be asking is, what have you discovered about yourself in the last 18 months? Like, since COVID has been rearranging the whole Earth's life, right? All lives on Earth have been distracted, maybe disturbed, but more so delayed, right? Because of COVID. What about yourself or your self-care or your mental health or whatever the case may be that you have realized about yourself within the last 18 months? What I learned about myself in the last 18 months is that I'm more capable of being my authentic self, and I don't need permission to be said authentic self. And I mean that in the sense of like, I discovered once I said for me and everything else in my life, once I said like, I no longer want to engage. I no longer want to be tied to this thing. I no longer want to be the burden, not even the burden, but the barrier of burdens, kind of like the Grim Reaper that's associated with death. I don't want to be the person that carries everybody else's burden. I don't want you to lay your burdens onto me, because I don't lay my burdens onto other people. I need to let it be known I no longer want to hold on to other people's burdens. How do I do that? I do that by letting things go. Before we get into painting, this is lavender. It's an essential oil spray, and it obviously smells like lavender. And lavender is a way of being peaceful. It's kind of like when we drink lavender tea, it's supposed to like calm our nerves. When we drink chamomile tea, that's a way for us to like go to bed early, because that kicks in our sleep mode. So it's kind of like the same thing with lavender. Like lavender is supposed to make you feel good as well as it makes you decompress and relax. And that's the energy of process painting. That's the energy of like art therapy. You shouldn't feel anxious about it. You shouldn't feel like it's a competition, it's a test. There is no expectation. I don't expect you to be Bob Ross. Don't expect you to be Bob Ross. We're just here to share space and grace and allow our authentic self to be released. So so I think the colors I'm gonna go for, I'm gonna go for the opposite of today. Lucky enough, it's not raining, but it is cloudy. It's Massachusetts. It's global warming. It is what it is. But I think I want to paint something abstract. Like you gotta look into the stars. You gotta see the fairies. You gotta see that je ne sais quoi, that pop, that magic within the painting. It's not a specific thing. I think that's what I'm gonna go for. I want to do light colors, so I'm gonna pick out this like baby blue color. And like you only need a drop. I know when it comes to paint, you're like, oh my goodness, these small little holes, and I'm gonna need a gang of them. When you do that, I promise you, from personal experience and from running these painting workshops, you're gonna end up like this: caked paint that you don't even need that ends up being wasted. So I don't want to get that close to the camera. I'm pretty sure you can see what I see. And by the time I edit this, I'll zoom it in. But it gets caked up and it gets used. So when we say like a drop, it really does suffice. You don't need more than a drop. So yeah, we're gonna do a drop, and to estimate this drop is like a size of a penny. You really don't need more than the size of a penny, like this. That little thing, just right there. Because we're also going to dilute it with water. So you're going to end up with more paint than you actually intended. So that's the baby blue. I love purple. Purple's my thing. So I'm going to use a drop of purple as well. And the thing about painting in general, if you do need more paint, you can always get more paint, but you can't unsqueeze the tube or whatever you're using. So there's always that. If you're nervous, like, did I get the right amount? Did I not? You can always get more. Like I said, I like purple, so I'm going to double up on purple. And I'm going to continue on the theme of like light colors. And then I like to start off with maybe like 3 to 4 colors. And then as I like see the vision, as I see what I'm painting, whatever it is, then I'll, add more colors. So a little bit of yellow, a little bit of green, the 2 purples. And I like to dip my paint brush in the water first, get it damp, brush the excess water on the edge of the cup. And then I'm going to start off with some yellow. But yeah, I'm just stroking it, a no real method, just stroking the canvas and talking to the camera, essentially. Hopefully your day is just as peaceful too. I know it's Sunday. Sunday tends to be the day where people are restful, people are more intentional, they take things slow. Also tends to be the day that people are more like religiously bound. That's the thing. So people are typically at church or doing some type of religious ceremony. So maybe that's what you're doing. It is the weekend, so I hope you are practicing self-care. Self-care Saturday, self-care Sunday. And it doesn't have to be anything extravagant. It literally can be painting in the nature. Painting in the park, sorry, I kind of have a brain fart. But nonetheless, it can be something as simple as just painting in nature. Whatever grounds you, whatever gives you like you time. Because again, we live in a world where we oftentimes don't have time for self. So make time for self, even if it's the smallest thing. It doesn't have to be extravagant. You don't have to wait till it's your birthday. You could do something as simple as literally painting in the park. You deserve it. And who's going to take care of you if you take care of everybody? And since it is a new moon, are y'all going to do anything special for said new moon? Me in particular, I always have my intention and my manifestations that I have. I'm just checking out the butterfly to the right of me. So I usually have my manifestations. They don't really change. It's pretty much the same 10 things I want. But for full moon ceremonies, I still do releasing of, again, people, places, and things. And I know it sounds kind of like methodic, like I say that often, but if you actually sit, not while you're painting, because you want your brain to just like let go and let God, but like when you have time to meditate, when you have time to self reflect, because that's important, you'll see like there's a lot of things, trying to keep it PG. There's a lot of things that you may still be holding on to, and it doesn't have to be anything dramatic, traumatic. It doesn't have to be like da da da. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. It's just like you just see like, okay, that still affects me, like the way that person said something, or I'm still holding on to that thing of the past, and you realize like, wow, that's so inconvenient to self, because you could have been using that space, you could have been using that time for anything else other than this thing that you're holding on to. And that's really the point of like taking care of self, so you can have that self-reflection, because when we're on the go, again, we don't have time to sit down and self-reflect the way that we should.